Non-Americans of Reddit. What is something about America that surprised you in a good way? The amount of unused/untouched countryside.
I was surprised how friendly Americans are in general, and the willingness to help with accurate directions.
How much cereal selection you have.
Free refills at restaurants.
As an American, it really felt nice reading through comments about America that aren't just about how terrible it is and how the entire country and everyone in it is a joke to the entire rest of the world. It's a real nice breath of fresh air.
Before COVID, I was friends with an exchange student from South Korea. Luckily, the family he was staying with were kind enough to let me take him out to experience some of the American teenage life. Took him to see a drive-in movie, eat at dinners, bowling with friends, go to football games and parties. He loved how teenagers could just go out as friends and do so much and be so close. Said that it was just like the movies.
Canadian here. The rest of the world for some reason considers us friendly, and I don't know why. I was shocked when I visited the US and so many people there were actually very friendly, a lot more so than here in Canada.
My BF is non-American and he says it's the ability to get food at any hour.
Aussie here. Everyone has always been extremely polite and friendly to me each time I've been there.
First time in the US, my brother and I, from Norway, went on a road trip around New England and upstate New York. By chance we spent our first night in Mystic, CT, a year or so after the movie Mystic Pizza. It was the night of my 23rd birthday, and we ended up in a small bar full of locals, pretty much the only tourists, out-of-towners in the place. During a trip to the bathroom, my brother had told the bartender it was my birthday, and when I came out the entire bar was singing happy birthday to me, and I was served a giant piece of cheesecake. I was completely taken by surprise and it was a great experience. Most Americans are very friendly to strangers in my experience. We had 3 great weeks in CT, MNA and NY.
The nature. I moved from Europe to Tennessee and the amount of animals and insects I've seen here that just don't even exist back home amazes me. Fireflies and armadillos are my favorite, even though I've only seen dead armadillos unfortunately.
How friendly people were, even in big cities like NYC and LA. Although I think my British accent may have been a contributing factor lol. The situation that sticks out the most was me and my other British friend were standing in line to get into a club in LA making casual small talk with each other when an American lady turned round and was like, "Oh my god, are you girls British? I love your accent." We spoke to her for a bit and she said she knew the DJ so would get us in VIP for free. She was so lovely, but my sketch radar did go off a little. But we accepted her invitation and had a great night and woke up alive the next day.
I went to USA as an exchange student. Loved how the teenagers were so open-minded and the people were really nice.
Philanthropy and the idea of paying it forward. Americans have an extremely individualistic society. At the same time, American millionaires are the most generous. The Middle East and Asia are societies that revolve around family and community, but you don't hear of Saudi or Chinese millionaires building funds to encourage millionaire philanthropy, Warren Buffett, or dedicating years of research to building toilets aimed at revolutionizing water sanitation. I've seen latrines contaminate well water and I couldn't be more excited that Bill Gates gives a crap and understands the implications of water, sanitation and hygiene. Going back to the pay it forward mentality. On a trip to Goodwill, while I studied in the US, the lady who was standing before me at the register asked the cashier to include the item I'd put on the counter on her bill. I was looking the other way and didn't hear her make the request, so when my turn came to pay, I was informed that the lady who just left the store had already paid for my item. I was dumbfounded. I ran to the parking lot to thank my anonymous benefactor, but the lady in question just brushed it off as nothing. "Just pay it forward," she yelled from across the parking lot, as she got in her car. That was my first time hearing this phrase. I later noticed other people doing similar acts of kindness. The father of the girl I was nannying, paying for the order of the next person at the drive-thru. Joining Reddit years ago, I remember someone telling a story about a benefactor helping them when their car broke down, and paying it forward, or browsing through a sub called Random Acts of Kindness. Back home, we'll occasionally buy lunch or a nice pastry for a homeless person, I've seen my dad contribute to someone's grocery bill when they appeared short on change, but I never once witnessed these random acts of kindness, like you have in the US. People will help those who appear to be in need, but not pay for a random person's meal, coffee, etc., when, for all they know, that stranger could be better off than them. The idea that you're just doing this random act to brighten a stranger's day, knowing that they'll likely return the gesture to another person, and so on and so forth, genuinely amazes me. Edit. Thank you for the award. We'll pay it forward.
As an American looking through this, I'm surprised by the amount of "they're really nice." What made us become perceived as mean and cold? Just curious.
Things are cheap there. I like the stuff I get from my taxes in Canada, but sometimes cheap stuff is nice too. Even with the loss on exchange, certain things are significantly cheaper.
I am impressed with how independent some people are. Like fixing cars and computers.
You can turn right on a red light if there is no oncoming traffic.
Everyone I met in America were extremely polite and helpful. A lot of my friends were telling me all sorts of stories of how bad Americans are to Europeans, etc. That was literally not the case. I would recommend.
Alcohol is so cheap for a developed country. Consumer goods are also cheap.
Aussie here. People complain that Americans are too loud, but that can actually sometimes be a good thing. There's been so many times when someone is being annoying in public, but nobody here says anything because we don't want to start a scene. I feel like an American would just tell the annoying person to shut up and actually fix the situation.
People were way more polite than expected.
The traffic, or at least to the places I went, it was like, wow. There are almost no cars around here. And the fact that there are buttons so you can tell the lights when you want to cross the road?
Food. Beep. They have a lot of food that I wanna try.
Food. We have dumb restrictions for trans fat where I'm from. I'm gonna beep up my own body the way I want, thanks. Gimme that fried chicken between 2 donuts.
I'm from Russia. I lived in America for a month, and the most surprising thing was how much flags of their country they have. It's very patriotic.
Southern hospitality. Spent some time in Dallas a good few years back now while working. Almost every person I met was so amazingly polite. Being British, we noticed this beep even when confronted by the Karens and Chads of the world. Couldn't do enough to help people, even when it wasn't their job. Just because it was the right thing to do, the good thing to do. They take that beep seriously there, or did back then anyway. Haven't been back in a while.
The education. I know a lot of people hate how the system is, but the type of education is something I couldn't have gotten in my home country. As well as the infrastructure and how huge and diverse it is.
How kid-friendly it is. 99% of bars and restaurants are genuinely happy to accommodate kids. The National Park Service's Junior Ranger Program, summer camps.
Average Americans are lovely people. The obtrusiveness of Americans abroad seems largely a function of not being in their home context, not because they're overbearing loudmouths. They really aren't.
Nature in the PNW.
The National Park System. Genuinely surprised you cared. Unlimited refills for soft drinks. And you're generally speaking a very sociable bunch. Very chatty. Which is good.
Your ability to carry a gun like it's your phone. Genuinely envious of you guys stateside with your gun laws, to be honest.
Literally everyone I met treated me like a long-lost friend, and my god, if you've never tried an American burger and milkshake, make it your first priority upon arrival. And don't get me started on Texas barbecue.
Americans are always so nice.
It wasn't all shooting, mugging, and robbing. All these memes make me so confused. Not even Florida is like this. Just 'cause some people had been a tiny crazy back then doesn't mean it's the land of wild.
Cheesecake Factory.
The parks in small cities and towns.
Chick-fil-A. How good could a fast food chicken sandwich really be?
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to subscribe to Upvote for the best quality content every day.